Lady or gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Fun Podcast, episode 3. I'm Guy.
I'm Nadav.
And hopefully this episode is going to be better than the last one, which didn't even come up. For us, it's last week. I don't know when it is for you, but we skipped 1 week, unfortunately, which is, we're just busy college students, you know?
We are. I'm actually pretty busy this weekend, too. Like, next week is murder for me, but I want to play Skyrim this week, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if you also have. I have a break. Well, it started Friday to Monday.
What?
Do you have a break like that? Okay, maybe it's just the UC system, right? But so I do have that break, but it kind of sucks because Friday I only study 50 minutes, and Monday I only have one class, and I don't study that much, so you know, it kind of sucks, but whatever.
I don't get breaks at my college. We only have winter break, spring break, and fall break. That's it.
What about
no
like President's Day and shit?
No Labor Day, no Martin Luther King Day.
Seriously?
Yeah. We've been
That sucks, man.
Well, it's because just in case there's like a day that's too cold for classes, we've had one so far.
Oh, okay.
Where it was
the Ohioans are ruthless. Everybody knows.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, Ohio is a Native American thing, right? Like the name.
I thought it was a Japanese word.
Is it? Well, it sounds
Ohio.
like Japanese. Well, what I'm trying to steer towards is so
that
you
is
guys
Japanese,
know,
right? Like, fuck. Am I racist?
No, you're not. You're a
Okay.
languagist, and you're disgusting.
I'm pretty sure it's Japanese, but I might be completely wrong.
Well, I just know. Okay, what I'm trying to steer towards is a short remark about the Iroquois.
The Iroquois.
The Iroquois, exactly. No, people. So this is a Native American tribe that was called the Iroquois because of the French. It's not Iroquois, and this kind of this is, oh my, Jesus Christ!
What's going on, man?
Oh, my dog's still in my room and he wants to get out.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll let him out after I say that it's also Illinois and not Illinois. Okay, you can speak now and I'll get my dog out.
The reason we know this is because we used to play a lot of Civilization 5. And in it, one of the factions are the Iroquois. Back in the day, we would call them the Iroquois because that's what it was spelled as, Iroquois. And one day, our friend Kevin was joking, it's actually the Iroquois, not the Iroquois. And I was like, no, it's not. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, it is the Iroquois. And when I told him that, he was like, oh shit, I was just making that up. So he was right without even knowing it. It was just a dumb joke.
Blame the French.
The French are the cause for most of the world's problems, according to my friend Parker.
Well, I think actually the more accurate thing to do is to blame the English. Yeah, they kind of fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Just look at the Middle East, man.
Just blame European empires.
Yeah, I mean Europe in general. They're like, hey, let's rape Africa and America, and you know, let's just do that.
Modern day Europe is a lot better than historical Europe.
Well, I think it's in general, true for many places, but I know they have been passing some progressive laws, which are like basically bullshit, right?
Which are you referring to?
Well, for example, right, you can be arrested for hate speech. And what is defined as hate speech? Well, they get to define it, right? So let's say,
of course,
right? Let's say you're a college professor, and you say something like, I don't know, transgenders have a high suicide rate, it's true, right? Now, I'm not trying to go Ben Shapiro here, but facts don't care about your emotion. No, what I'm trying to say is, and you could get arrested for hate speech, right? So it's this subjective law that's getting near censorship, and you know, I don't like Europe's track record with fascism. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of Europe is falling to populism and fascism is pretty around the corner for some of those
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like when you're in America, you look at Europe and it kind of looks like paradise, but, some Americans are like, well, we love America, and these snobbish Europeans don't know anything about freedom and liberty. But I know many Americans who, Europe is kind of like this exotic place, and I do like Europe more than America, to make that clear, but, it's not a paradise.
I'm thinking after undergrad, I'm going to go to Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, listener, and I know you know this, Nadav, Germany is actually looking for young people to attend their colleges and then hopefully stay and work in Germany. So I think they're offering free tuition to college students from abroad or something like that.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
So that's if you're German speaking, that's seriously worth getting into.
Yeah, I'm learning German right now, and in my junior year, I'm thinking of studying abroad at Heidelberg University to build some connections and better my German.
Dude, I think that would be great for you, man.
Yeah, maybe go there for grad school. Maybe do something in Switzerland.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, I want to do that.
I have a British passport, so maybe someday, maybe graduate studies, I'll go to England or something. I don't know. Say hello to our friend Avinash.
It's too bad they left the EU.
Yeah, I guess. Well, maybe they're getting back at. I don't know. This is like third grade drama. Are they gonna get back together? I don't know.
So you've got a British passport, right?
Of course,
but is that like an English or a Scottish or a Welsh, right? Because Scotland is looking to get back into the EU.
All right, let's talk about this. All right, you got Scotland and you got Ireland. It's the same fucking island, anyways. I know it's not. That's guys. Whenever I make that joke, people are like, "No, it's not," which shows that. So if you make a joke about something that's obvious to most people, for example, isn't Trump black? Right? They would be like, haha, because he's not. But when you make a joke like that about the British Isles, it's not commonly known enough that they're not the Slime Islands, right? So people are like, are you serious or is this a joke, right? And mostly they think I'm serious. So Americans, get to know your British Isles, goddammit.
Do you know the game Plague Inc.?
Yes.
In Plague Inc., all the British Isles are called the UK.
That's so offensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I don't see a problem with that.
There's a YouTuber, Twitch gamer, RT Game, that I sometimes watch, okay. And he's Irish. And when he loaded up, he loaded up Plague Inc. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna start in Ireland," and he clicked on it, and it came up UK, and it highlighted Great Britain and Ireland, and it was like, "No,
that's funny.
No, we're not doing this game, guys."
I know they avoid the Middle East drama by just having a region called the Middle East, which I don't blame them for. I mean, that's fair, man. I would do that too.
Yeah, and they just separated Africa into like northeast, south, and central.
Which stuff is fair, It's not looking to make a political statement.
I mean, they did the same thing with Europe, like Western Europe and Eastern Europe and stuff.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's fair. If there was too many countries, then you just wouldn't be able to progress very well in the game.
See, what they really need to do is map out every tiny Pacific island.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course, yeah. Every U.S. military base. That way you'll never be able to. Yeah. Well, maybe okay. Let's start talking about. We talked about it a little bit last time, but Pulp Fiction. We referenced it, and I watched it, and I'll just tell you what I think, and then tell me what you remember, because it's been a while for you.
It has been like several years since I've last seen Pulp Fiction.
Okay. I thought it was actually really enjoyable. Now, I was ready to kind of hate on it, because, hating popular stuff like that, that's what I live for, right? But it was really smooth experience, and I don't know if it's just because maybe I was primed to like it. I thought I was primed to not like it, but um, I don't know. It felt smooth, like everything was coming together well, and I really cared about the characters. And one thing I notice about old films, which I love now, is, and I'm not saying they ruined everything with a new one, but what I do like about old films is that they don't feel the need to explain everything to you, and this is good films in general, right? So but you see it mostly in old films, but take something like The Dark Knight. They don't. Christopher Nolan doesn't feel a need to explain to you what happens to the Joker in the end, or the background of the Joker, or his actual plan. You know, and I feel like leaving these things ambiguous is makes good cinema.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction is definitely a very well put together production.
Yeah.
Like the way they shot it and they edited it together is true. I think that's even better than the story. But the story was good too. Like I remember the bathroom scene. That's something that I'm never gonna forget.
The dialogue was great.
Dialogue is very good, and like the blocking, like the movements,
Yeah.
just iconic.
Yep. And it's just really fun characters. I think what many people like about it, and I don't know, I haven't read any reviews or anything of why people like it, but it's you get characters who commit and don't hold back. So you got and I don't know anyone's names, guys. You got like the crazy duo, like the black guy and the other guy, right? Like in another film, they would be kind of crazy, but they wouldn't just shoot anyone. In that film, they're like, I'm gonna shoot you, right? I'm gonna blow your head off, which I like. And then, there, I don't know if you remember, but there's the scene where the dude like forgot his father's watch in the apartment.
I remember that. That's
and he goes back, and then it's a main character basically, and then another another protagonist walks in, and he just shoots him, and I love that. It's such an unremarkable death. Like in the boxer's life, the gangster who was in his apartment was just a background character who, is going to show up and get gunned down. But I think it shows that, everyone is the main character in their own life.
Yeah, and it shows like the randomness of the universe, right? It's like
yeah,
things don't always happen for a reason. There's no like dramatic music leading up to a frightening moment. It's just bam, and you're
exactly.
dead. I think I just peaked doing that, but it's good. It's important.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah, and I think that's true. So Pulp Fiction, honestly, great. I was ready to hate it, but I didn't. Have you watched Fargo? Fargo? I don't know how it's
Fargo?
enunciated. It's another cult film.
What's it about? Maybe I'll remember if you tell me what
it's about. A car dealer's dude who wants extra money from his rich girlfriend's dad, so he pays criminals to abduct his girlfriend and ask the father to pay for her, and things go wrong.
Of course they do. I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, it has in similar as that, it doesn't hold back, and it doesn't feel the need to explain everything. For example, there is like one of the criminals buries a suitcase full of money on the side road. We don't know what happens to that. I don't think we need to.
Yeah.
So I think if there's something filmmakers should learn from all these films, all these classic films, is never half-ass, always full-ass.
Always full-ass.
Always full-ass, you heard it here. And don't feel the need to explain everything.
Have you watched The Godfather?
I have.
That's a good film.
I've watched The Godfather. All you need to do is to respect the family. And yeah, it's a great film and a great soundtrack.
I don't think the sequels are as good.
No. But, I didn't actually get to 3, I stopped in the middle of 2 because it just, I don't know, it felt like it was just dragging on for too long.
Yeah, 3 was really bad too.
Yeah, but Godfather 1, wow. Like,
Oh yeah.
you get the life into these people who are criminals. Like, these people are criminals, and they kill people for money. And you see they still have this sense of honor and sort of dignity. Almost
Yeah.
like a chivalry code, or a Bushido, you know?
Yeah, they got character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They got
super iconic.
charm.
Yeah. And the dialogue was great, too.
It was very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are some great films. Are there any films sort of recently that you think were good that you would consider classics?
Sort of recently. What do you mean by sort of recently?
Like in the last 15, 20 years?
Well, Scott Pilgrim versus the World was released in 2010.
Oh yeah, you talked about that. I haven't watched it again yet. So I'll need to do that. Have
When
you watched The Dark Knight?
I have watched it, yeah. That was a while
Okay.
ago too.
Okay.
Um, I
I
haven't
was a
really
big fan of that.
watched a lot of recent movie. I watched. You remember Interstellar? Did you watch Interstellar?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't like it. I thought it was really bad.
Let's talk about Interstellar. So, I think it's Interstellar is an example of half-assing. They committed to some scientific context, right? And I think that's a step in the right direction, okay? But they didn't go full. And I don't think they should explain like this is the science behind the black hole, but they should make science the main thing in the story, not just time dilation. And when he went into the fourth dimension and he was able to travel through time, and it turned out that love was the answer all along, I just felt cheated.
Yeah, I'd either like go full science or don't put in real science at all, right? Like if you're already gonna get like a real scientist to come and look over your script, then have him look over everything. Don't just
Yeah.
have him look over like one thing.
Yeah. And you don't even need to hire somebody. There are many people like me who know, I'm not a expert in general relativity, but I know my science more than most people. So many people will do it for free, So there's really no excuse. And I think many science fictions fall into this trap where they kind of drop the science and then they're just fiction. And I think what makes a science fiction is that science is the main motivator of the story, and it's driven by science.
The thing is, I could forgive it for its faulty science if it was at least interesting. But it was just
Yeah.
such a boring film that dragged on for more than 2 hours. I went to see it in the cinema. More than 2 hours I was sitting in that seat. Oh my god, I wanted to die.
Yeah.
It was so boring. And honestly, like the whole premise was just dumb. So I couldn't really get into it.
It was, yeah. And I think, that's a thing you get where when you know more about a specific thing, then it's very difficult to suspend your disbelief. And so let's say you're an art expert, right? And I'm choosing this extreme example, just to prove a point. So you're an art expert, and then this movie is supposed to be about art, and they get artist strong, and they get technique strong, and they get all these stuff wrong. Now, for someone like me, I wouldn't know. I would say, yeah, this sounds legit. But you would be like, no, I can't suspend my disbelief anymore. Like, this is all wrong. This is bullshit. So, that's what I think.
Yeah, I think the only thing I really liked about that movie was the robot. But I really felt sad for the robot because they kept like infringing on his freedoms by lowering his sarcasm rating.
Yeah, yeah, man, come on.
He was the
Have
only
you
like
watched?
redeeming part of that film.
Have you watched Solo?
No, I don't watch Star Wars. I watched the the original trilogy, and then the first two of the prequels, and that's the only Star Wars I've ever seen.
So I think it was my little brother something. It was something, and I don't think it was his birthday, but we just went to the cinema to watch Solo, and I don't know what the general consensus about Solo is, but I can tell you, it was garbage. The plot was dumb. The conclusion was basically Han Solo is a badass and he defeats everyone and everything, and he's invincible and he's awesome, guys. He's awesome and he can defeat everything and he's awesome and he's badass. And there was nothing about it that I could say was good. It was the most unremarkable film I watched recently.
Wow, that's a very high praise. I saw a trailer the other day on a YouTube video for a movie that I'm actually kind of interested in watching. It's called Yesterday. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's about this. So, this guy who's a singer, right, gets into an accident, and when he wakes up from his coma, the world seems the same, but nobody remembers the Beatles. It's like they never existed. Only he does. So when his friends give him a guitar because his one broke in his accident, and he starts playing a Beatles song, I can't remember which one. Afterwards they ask him that was amazing. When did you write that? And he was like, I didn't write this. Paul McCartney wrote it. And they're like, who's Paul McCartney? And so he becomes what?
Does this connect to your time work?
No, it doesn't. I thought it's a movie that I would be interested in watching, and I think you like the Beatles too. I think it looks pretty interesting because this guy, he's really conflicted, right? Because the Beatles meant a lot to him. That's why he knew all their songs. Yeah. But now that they don't exist, he becomes this super world famous rock star. Mm-hmm. But he feels like he's stealing all the pieces.
That's really interesting. I like that. It's sometimes when you have a premise that sounds really good, it's difficult to actually make it what people expect, as good as people expect. But that sounds like something I would watch.
Yeah, you should watch the trailer. I thought the trailer was really good.
Okay. Cool. So I'll do that. Do you know when it's supposed to come out?
I think June.
Okay.
So during the summer.
There's a lot of time.
Actually, maybe we can go watch it this summer together.
Sure.
If you're there, you might be in Israel.
Well, I may be in Israel.
Yeah. All right. Never mind. Yeah. Any more about movies, or should we move on?
No, I think we should move on. And I'm looking for this through our Discord. We could talk. There are two things we could talk about. Which one do you want to do?
Well, I have a little thing we could talk about also.
Okay. Well, then go ahead.
Have we talked about dinosaurs yet?
Dinosaurs. I think we have a little bit.
I don't know. I love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are great. We should talk more about dinosaurs.
Well, I don't know what we could say about dinosaurs. I'm not saying that they're a myth. I'm just saying they didn't exist.
They never existed. Yeah, well, I don't know. Just all the different types and how crazy some of them were. Spinosaurus. Just insane. It was... Here's the thing I didn't know. It was the only semi-aquatic dinosaur that we know of.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, what do you want to say about dinosaurs, man?
I think they're really cool, right?
Recognize them.
That's cool. The Tyrannosaurids, with their big heads and their little arms, and the sauropods with their hugeness, and the Ankylosaurus guys. Just how does something like that even come about? That's insane. Look at it. It's covered in bone spikes, and it's got a mace on its tail. How does something like that even come about?
Yeah, dinosaurs are basically D&D monsters, and dinosaurs. If you want to sponsor us, that would be. We just said how great you are, and we could keep doing that, or we could take everything we said back. The choice is yours.
And the Quetzalcoatl, which is not a dinosaur, he's a pterosaur, but that thing was the size of a giraffe, and he could fly. I mean,
Yeah.
And it only weighed like, I don't know, like 300 kilograms, I think, based on current estimates.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I mean, that's
Dang. I
insane.
don't know names of dinosaurs, man.
Oh, dude, I love dinosaurs so much.
I can tell. Um. Well, do you want to talk a little bit about historical warlords? Because you know, I'm just gonna tell you from world building. So when I world build, I research real stuff and real people, and over the time, without even noticing, I've become fairly well educated on the general timeline in Europe and what's happening, the general geography of Europe, and warlords and shit, and how they did stuff. Basically, I mean, do you have any opinions about
Well,
historical warlords, man?
I mean, the only real warlord I know much about is Gandhi, um, who, of course, launched a million nukes at all
Yes.
other civilized nations.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, this is like dinosaurs for you. Like, I don't. I mean, I know like Genghis
Okay.
Khan, and I know like Hannibal,
Yeah.
but
Well, let me ask you this, okay? If somebody let's say in an alternate universe or something, you were made a dictator of some region, how would you how would you be the best dictator, right? Because we've seen many dictators who are overly belligerent, who try to apply forms of government which are inappropriate for their situations, who apply censorship, who massacre their enemies after conquest. All these mistakes which they make. So I guess my question is to have an opinion of how you would make the best dictatorship there is.
well, I mean, I guess the first step is education, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like if early on you spend money to build institutions and hire people to teach people, that's an investment that's going to return big time.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a first step. Another is to try and get everybody doing something, like if an efficient working society. We can't have like freeloaders and people who just like hang around.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's not doing anything will be conscripted into something,
Yeah.
whatever needs more people.
Um,
I think
I think.
walls
Yeah. Go ahead.
walls are a pretty big deal.
Especially across a border with Mexico or something.
Well, I mean, it depends how primitive or advanced my people are, right?
I would say
Because
I would say
once
mid.
someone has dynamite, walls don't do anything anymore.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's once you have dynamite, your
Right,
walls don't do
of course, right.
Of course. We're referencing Civ, listener. And I think you're correct when you talk about education. If you look at history, you see all these civilizations which put an emphasis on science and literature, like the ancient Greeks, like the Romans, like the Arabs during the Arab Golden Age. Like, they were killing it. They were doing real well. And I think a part of that is um, allowing people, like, not being too overbearing with censorship. Now, I know we had our talk about censorship, but I think we would both agree that when your censorship is inhibiting science and free thought, then you got a problem.
You've got a real problem.
Yeah.
I think also another thing I would try to do is to develop like a council beneath me of like people who I could delegate like a sort of day-to-day workings, and that could be like a democracy where people can like vote in people for the council, sort of like a republic. I think
Yeah.
Rome did this. You know, there's the emperor, and then there's like the councilors and the senators. I think that's a really good strategy, because the emperor shouldn't be focused on every little thing. It's good to have delegation, but you also have to make sure the senators know that you're the boss, right? They can't do things without you.
Yeah. And this is tricky. You know, you've seen people throughout history. Take, for example, Putin. right? Before Putin rose to power, basically the oligarchs of Russia were in charge, right? There was the president or prime minister or whatever, and the oligarchs were like, "We're rich as fuck, and you need us, so do what we say." And everybody was like, "Okay." And then Putin comes in, and they're like, "Do what we say," and he's like, "Go to
You
jail.
dead.
You dead. You disappear, and you're gonna be imprisoned." And I think a part of being a successful dictator is not showing your power too much, because when people, and you could see this in any game you play with multiple people, when people are weak, they usually try to appear tough, and when people are tough, they usually try to appear weak. Okay, so you know, you don't want to be like, I am all powerful, because then people are going to be, I don't know about that. Let me show you you're not. But you do want to be assertive and be like, if you mess with me, like, you're going to get it. You know?
Yeah, you've got to be assertive. You've got to back up your threats, but you can't be overly, because when people are afraid, there's only so much they can take before they break. And when they break, they either become useless or they turn on you. And neither of those are helpful for running a country.
Yeah, and we've seen in history too that regimes based on fear don't work, right? Look at Nazi Germany, look at Russia. By the way, Russia is on the brink of collapse. I mean, its economy is in shambles. And the point is, as a dictator or a warlord, when you're doing conquest, you don't want to massacre the territories you capture, because once you capture them, these are your people. They're the citizens of your empire. And, you see this all throughout history. You see this in the Roman Empire. You see this in the Mongol Empire. And there are many other examples. Once they capture a certain territory, they integrate its citizens into its empire as regular people with full rights, And I think that's what warlords should focus on, is not only war, but also the end game.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have an end game, then you're just like a conqueror. Like Alexander the Great, like, for all that he was great, I don't know if he was much of a ruler. It was his march across the world until his men were like, that's it, we don't want to go any further.
Yeah.
And I believe he's quoted on saying that, when he conquered the world, he turned around and he looked at what he owned, and he was like, all he wanted to do was conquer it again. Mm-hmm. He didn't have an end goal. He didn't even want to rule it. He just wanted to claim it.
Yeah, and I think a part of having an end game is, and you see this throughout history too. One, never declare war when you don't have a big advantage. And these big advantages are, one, technology, two, logistics. Technology, you can look at the Roman Empire, you can look at anywhere, that one is pretty obvious. And logistics, it's not as obvious, but also the Roman Empire, they had their system of command in their army, where it was, a system based on 10. So you have 10 people, 10 people controlling 100 people, controlling 1,000 people, yada, 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 which was extremely efficient. And actually the Mongols did the exact same thing, pretty much. And also the Mongols had a really quick message delivering system. So across that vast empire, messaging was extremely quick. So always make sure that you have an advantage in technology and logistics. And
don't declare war unless you've already won.
Exactly. Yeah. And another thing, when you declare war, the purpose of war should be to negotiate a deal that's favorable to you and end the war as fast as possible, because both sides lose from war all the time. So what you want to do is make war as quick as possible and negotiate a favorable deal. And Germany made this. I mean, it's all over history, but Germany made this mistake in World War One. They had a rapid expansion where they kicked everyone's butt, but they were outnumbered. So the more time they spend in war, the more they lose. And everyone else was ready for a peace deal that favors Germany, right? So if they had someone who actually knew what he was doing, like Otto von Bismarck, he would negotiate a deal instantly that would be in their favor, right?
Yeah. This is particularly true if your army is made of your citizens and not a standing army, because then every person you lose is not just you're losing out soldiers, it's you're losing out people who can help your economy once war is done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important because the economy gets boosted while there's the war going on, but when the war ends, the economy plummets straight back down.
For sure. And I think in modern times, if you want to actually be a successful warlord, I think you pretty much have to ally yourself with one of the world's superpowers, which is not Russia. It's either China or the United States. And because if you're a warlord in this day and age, you're probably from like Africa. Now, the U.S. and China are both trying to get a foothold in Africa. Okay, so let's say you turn to the U.S. You say, I know you need a foothold of democracy in Africa. I'm willing to offer you that. And then they'll be like, okay, here's our money. Or tell China, I know you're looking for a foothold in Africa. I'm going to instill a communist government in the end, give me your money. And they'll be like, okay. So,
China's probably a better bet.
I think it is, yeah. And so, you know your leverage points. Know what you're worth. And also, something that's in general, whenever you're dealing with negotiations, the first deal they offer you is never the best one. So always decline the first deal.
But don't decline too much, because then they'll get mad.
Yeah, just decline the first deal. And another thing I was thinking about, you can tell I was thinking about this a lot, because what am I going to do, right? Study? Is what happens when you catch a spy, right? And do you want to tell me what you would do? Let's say you catch an American spy in your midst.
Well, here's the thing. Are they aware that I've caught them? Because the best thing to do is to find out that there's a spy and then feed them misinformation while making them think it's the real information.
Right.
But if they're aware they've been caught, then I would capture them and I would send them back to the place they came from with concessions from their native country.
What I think is, first, I don't think it would feed them in like false information, and I don't think I would try to convert them into a mole either. I know you didn't say that, but I wouldn't try that because how I see it, the more connections your plan requires, the longer the pipe, the more potential for leakage it has, right? So what I would do, right, is first of all, you capture them so they lose any contact with the US, right? And once you capture them, I think you can't let them leave alive, right? One, it shows weakness and it shows that you're not assertive. And two, you make the problem longer. Now it slides over a long period of time. They'll be able to learn about you, whatever that spy knows, if you let him go. Or if you try to turn him into a mole, well, that's a long timeline of things that go wrong.
Turning them into a mole would not work. But
it would not work.
I would not want a foreign spy in my country, even if I had them captured. Because the longer I would rather feed them misinformation, because then I can control what gets there. And sometimes it'll be real, and sometimes it won't be. It depends on how I feel, right? But if they're aware they've been caught, then you send them back with like heavy concessions on the side that sent them over.
Okay.
I think having a spy imprisoned in your country is just asking for trouble. Because eventually they're going to send people to get that person back.
Yep. And it also shows that you're not assertive. So what I would do if I was a dictator is, number one, You torture them to see what they know. And this is just the sad truth, right? I don't like torturing people. I like having people tortured, but he knew what he has in store when he became a spy, right? Torture them to see what they know. And you tell them, if you tell me the truth and I can verify it's the truth, I'm gonna let you go to your country. If you tell me something that you say is true and I verify it's false, I'm gonna kill you. If you don't tell me anything soon enough, I'm gonna kill you. Okay? So you tell him exactly what's gonna happen. Let's say he tells you some information, and verifying whether it's true or false would be impossible. You still kill him. Let's say you verify what he said is true. You eventually kill him. The point is, you can never let him go. You must kill him eventually.
See, I don't think torture is notoriously ineffective.
Right.
Right.
But I think once
it doesn't get results.
Right, but you could kill him.
You could.
And then you don't get anything.
Just tell him, you tell me what I want to know, and I'll let you go. You don't tell me what I want to know, and I'll kill you, and then you kill him right away. Well, he's probably not going to tell you what you want to know. He's just not going to tell you, right? Because he's loyal, patriotic to his country. That's why he became a spy in the first place.
Torture is a different beast, but my point is, you have to kill them. Because if not, you just make it the U.S. gets information about you, or it could be anyone, any spy.
I would rather that country have a bit of information on me than do a clear, aggressive action of killing one of their people.
I don't know, man. I would say an aggressive action is to spy on us, and then they see okay, spying on them has there's a potential for there's a really high opportunity cost.
But I would rather get something like technology or something by giving the spy back than killing that spy. You see, I think that spy is more valuable to you alive and in their country than dead in yours. Because that's only going to gain you enemies.
Okay, I disagree. I think you need to show them you're assertive. But I guess maybe let's, just as a final point, let's talk a little bit. So we talked about conquest, but once you get big, let's talk about puppet states, right? How do you maintain your control, or even puppet politicians? How do you maintain your control over a puppet politician or a puppet state?
You make them think that they have power.
Well, that's not how you maintain control, because then they're going to be like, oh, I have more power than you do. Or I guess...
No, you make them think that their actions actually matter, that it matters that they are in charge, that they can't be replaced by someone else. Okay, you make them think that you need them, and then they'll feel like honored, they'll feel important. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's correct. I think, especially when you have a large empire, ruling everything is impossible, as you said. Just give people control over their territories, or even fake control of puppets, What you don't want to do is you don't want the people to feel like you're cheating them, okay? Once they're integrated into your empire, you want them to be like, yes, like this guy is standing for what we want, and nobody else did.
Make them think it was their idea all along. That's the best way to get people to do something.
That's a good idea in general. Let me look at my notes for this a little more. I came prepared for this one. Yeah.
I did not have preparations.
Well, it's just because my friend in college asked me about this stuff, and I was like, I have a lot of opinions about this. I should write about this. So I am. Let's see. No.
I don't think I have a lot of conversations with people in college. I mean, most of them revolve around physics and math.
Okay, I think I said pretty much everything I wrote, I pretty much said here. So I think it's an interesting topic, being a warlord. I have one more thing to say. Okay. And I think this is sort of game theory-ish. And it's about when to lie and when to tell the truth. Okay. And I think this is also why I won right? Why I won games of Magic the Gathering, right? Um, Now, there are two schools of thoughts, basically, right? You can lie all the time, or you can tell the truth all the time. And I think you should never lie all the time, because when you lie all the time, let's say you tell someone, not in MTG, in just any game, I'm going to move my troops to this location. You could be telling the truth. You could be lying because you have the background of lying. The point is, they can't make a plan which is reliant on your action being what that is, right? Let me say that again. If when you lie all the time, people can't rely on what you say to make any plans. So they're just going to act regardless of what you do, and then you're not influencing them. Okay? What you need to do is tell the truth as much as possible, but lie when necessary. Right?
Yeah, only lie when you need to.
And the way to lie well is to take a truth and extend it, right? So let's say you're playing MTG, and I'm not saying like you should be an asshole to your friends or anything, but let's say you're playing MTG, and you're like, I have a pretty good deck. It's not amazing, but with a few more cards, it could be great. So what you're gonna say is, and then you draw a card, and it's like a really good card for your hand. And then what you say is, I drew a good card, true, but it's not enough to make my weak deck, which it was, strong. And that's a lie, right? So you want to place your little lie in a nest of truth, but that lie is what matters most, right? You tell the truth until the moment it counts.
Well, the thing is, in card games for me, I play a lot of poker. Mm-hmm. So for me, poker is very different. And whenever I play card games, I sort of fall into my poker mentality, because I'm of the school of thought that if you're like playing poker until like the very last card comes down, then you've played it wrong. You've already lost, mm-hmm. right? You kind of want to have mostly won before the flop, before the first 3 face-up cards come down.
Yeah.
Most of the game happens in the bluff stage. So you gotta be able to bluff like that.
By the way, can you just make sure your Audacity is still recording?
I'm watching Audacity.
Okay. Now, I'm not being an asshole to Nadav, okay? Because I don't know what happened. I'm not saying it was him. But I don't know, something happened and Audacity stopped recording in the middle of episode 2.
We have talked about this in 2.5.
We have, so I'm not gonna repeat it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been watching it the whole time though. At 48:20 right now.
Okay, that's good. Let's see. So I guess I touched on MTG, but is there anything you want to say in general about board games? Because at least for me, so there is this place called the Game Castle in our town, and it's basically a place filled with board games that you can play. And honestly, I think for a long time I haven't appreciated board games enough, because some of them are like really, really good.
Monopoly is the best game of all time.
It's not. Well, I don't think it's the best because
I don't know. It was really fun though, don't you think? Like when we played it with a whole group of people.
Well, the only thing I think bothers, I like the sort of diplomatic aspect, and I really like that in general in board games. That's what, when I play D&D or something, I always make like really diplomatic silver tongue characters. But I feel like in Monopoly, the aspect of luck is a little too much for me.
No, but that's the point. It's completely luck based, and I got so screwed.
Yeah, we both got. Yeah, one of our friends just got huge.
Here's a little tip if you ever want to play Monopoly. The best things to go for are the light blues and the browns on the first street, and the dark blues at the end, and the trains. The trains are really good because they're spread out everywhere, and you don't have to build houses. The browns and the light blues are really good because houses are super cheap, and it goes up like really high once you've got hotels on them. And the dark blue is really good because it just takes 2 streets, and then you can build hotels and stuff in that. And those are just like, boom, you're dead. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you're gone.
Yeah, they're kind of ridiculous. Is there any last short topic you want to talk about? Maybe you have a conspiracy.
Oh, conspiracy. I think I had one, but I forgot it. I didn't write it down.
Seriously, man?
Yeah.
Come on.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let me look if I have a conspiracy on my phone here.
I've got it this week. I learned. Well, it's not really this week. It's just something I learned kind of recently, but I forgot to mention before. I can sort of talk about it now.
Okay. Well, you do that while I look up
Sure.
this conspiracy.
One of the YouTube channels that I watch a lot of, that I've sort of gotten a guide to see sometimes, is called Tearzu.
I love Tearzu, man.
Tearzu is great. It's basically biology and zoology, but in terms of video games. And it's really funny. The guy who does it is great, and he really knows his stuff. And recently he put out a video. I don't think it was the most recent one, but it was one of the recent ones. It was animal combos. So he listed some animal combos. I can't remember all of them. I know the first one was the oxpecker and like a big mammal. But here's the thing I didn't know about oxpeckers. Oxpeckers are little birds that like eat parasites off of big mammals in Africa. But they actually like peck into the mammal to make the mammal bleed so that more parasites come, which is not very nice. But the top combo that he listed was the frog and the tarantula. And I thought this was the cutest thing I've ever seen. Basically, some tarantulas keep a little pet frog around to eat flying insects that would come and attack the tarantula, because tarantulas have a really hard time against flying creatures. And in turn, the tarantula would protect the frog from land threats like snakes and stuff.
Man.
And just watching a frog like ride on the back of a tarantula like a gun turret it's just amazing.
It's surreal,
so
and it's
good.
great. It's great, man. I love Tearzu. So here's a conspiracy for you. You know the Large Hadron Collider?
Yeah.
It's actually a stargate,
dude,
to awaken an
I told you this one.
Oh wait, yeah.
In the very
Dude,
beginning.
as I said this, I was like, wait, this sounds familiar.
Yes, that's a real one.
Damn it. Okay, how about this one? Okay. So you know your Siri on your phone, or you have an Android. I don't know what's there.
Bixby.
But
I wish I could turn it off.
okay, so these, or an Alexa and stuff like that, they're collecting information about how you speak and how you act in order to literally make a model of you in like the company's databases. And then they can know what they can sell you, how you think. They can literally talk to that model of you.
I don't think this is a conspiracy. I think this is real. I think this is what they actually do.
I guess it is a conspiracy, but it's a real conspiracy. And you know what? It's not. I don't think it's that far off from the truth.
I honestly don't think it's a conspiracy.
Man, no good conspiracies here. I think the last time we had some good conspiracies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Did you learn anything?
Did I learn anything?
Anything at all? It doesn't have to be from this week. Like my thing was not from this week.
Well, you know vectors when you take their cross product. I just learned that the magnitude of the cross product is equal to the area of a parallelogram. That's made by the vectors.
From those vectors.
Yeah, which I didn't know. And there's one more thing.
The second you said cross product, I put up my my right hand and the right hand rule on my chin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so guess what a three-dimensional parallelogram is called?
A parallelohedron?
No, it's extremely dumb. Parallelepiped.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
What the fuck? Who comes up with that shit? That's a bad name.
I mean, parallelohedron is not a lot better either.
I mean, pipette? What the fuck is that? Parallelepiped.
I don't
Like
know.
what?
It's based on the roots and stuff.
Roots and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. What else? We got 5 minutes left,
We
man.
do have 5 minutes.
Yeah. What are we gonna talk about?
Oh,
Maybe.
did you
have
hear
made
about
any-
Mars Opportunity rover?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it stopped working.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, it had a good run. You know, like what, 15-ish years?
Yeah, dude. The little robot who could.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the Israeli program to put a rover on the surface of the moon?
I didn't.
Turns out, so you remember Google's competition about putting something on the moon.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a thing anymore, but the company Space IL, who started it, is still going, and turns out, allegedly, they're going to launch very, very soon to the moon. So, Jewish moon monopoly soon happening.
Right. The Jews don't just control the economy and everything else. Now they control the moon too.
Now they control the moon too, exactly. Well, I mean, their calendar is based on the moon too, which is not a coincidence.
No, it is not.
No. All right, 4 minutes, listener. We're gonna survive this, man.
I had to do some research on for my time story. Did I tell you about?
You have, yes.
Yeah. Well, I found another article by those same three guys.
Oh,
Which is pretty funny. So and I've got two articles by my
Nice,
dad's
dude.
professor that I'm using, and I haven't written more for the story, but I've kind of got a basic plan down. I have to have like 8 pages by March,
oh,
which is not. I've got like 1.5,
that is pretty difficult.
but I just don't have time because
Yeah, that's fair.
it's not like she's like not giving us assignments, just letting us work on it. She's still like giving us a ton of
Oh,
reading to do.
that's really bullshit.
Yeah, like I have to read Flatlands for Tuesday to write like a response on it for Tuesday, and then write another essay on it for Thursday.
Fucking sucks, man.
Yeah.
I have one more thing I learned this week. So, you know the guy who did Potion Seller?
Potion Seller.
Potion Seller. And by the way, listener, if you don't know Potion Seller, just Google Potion Seller and watch it. It's pretty funny. So, turns out his YouTube channel is full of these videos, and he uploaded one like pretty recently, like a few weeks ago. I don't think it's as good, but some of my classic are one of them called Old Friends, the other one called Principle, and another one called Operation. And you know, they're a bunch and they're really good. And turns out he's actually a playwright and stuff like that. So, and that's how he makes like all these great characters. So, interesting guy, dude. I would have him on the podcast. We would have nothing to talk about. I don't know how philosophically inclined he is to talk about utter bullshit he doesn't know anything about. But
I was
Which is
talking with
basically-
Jane earlier, and I
Oh.
told him that we were gonna record the podcast tonight. And I was like, "Gotta be honest with you, I haven't been listening to those." And I was like, "Nobody's been listening to them."
dude, did he really think that we thought that he listens to them?
He
Come
said he
on.
listened to the first few, and then he kind of like stopped, and that they were really weird. And I told him, well, the first few were the worst ones, but it doesn't get any less weird. So
Yeah, it doesn't.
it doesn't.
Well, I think the audience for this podcast is basically, I don't fucking know, dude. Honestly, don't know.
Well, they're all
Listener,
in
if
the
you're
future,
listening,
right?
tell us. Who are you?
Future
Listener.
audience.
Yeah, future audience. Tell us who you are. I think it's just people who like to go off on tangents. Like I remember, for example, we were talking about how electrons in a wire don't actually move the speed of light. It's sort of a chain reaction, right? Where they all move in a kind of a train, right? And then I just asked, like, how slow can something go? Interesting question. I do that all the time, you know.
What do you mean, how slow can something go?
What's the slowest thing something can go that's not zero?
Like a
Right?
bit over zero?
Well, how? Because there is allegedly there's a definite smallest size something can be,
I
right?
see. So you're talking about like Planck speed.
Sure, yeah. I'm just saying, future Einstein.
Well, I guess theoretically, right? If the Planck distance is the smallest distance, then it would be a Planck distance by a Planck second.
Yeah, but then again, it's like, what's the smallest distance? Can something actually move that slow? What would move that slow? And if you can measure the distance, you can half it, right? So, I don't know. Interesting thing to think about. We should wrap this one up.
We probably should. Maybe we can think about that for next time.
Lady or gentlemen, thank you for making it this far into the Big Fun podcast. I thought this podcast, this episode was actually really good. Stayed on topic pretty well. Hopefully the other ones will be as good, if not better. We always look to improve. So thank you for listening. If you liked it, I'm just gonna. Nadav has a really important message.
I do have an important message for you listeners.
It's regarding the fate of humanity.
I'm pretty sure you know the drill by now, but if you like this video, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, share it with all your friends, leave us a comment. I will personally pin your comment to the top so that, well, you can see it better. I think that's it. Actually, one last thing. If you didn't like the video, leave a thumbs down. Okay.
So we know someone is watching.
No. This is a little secret. The YouTube algorithm doesn't actually have a difference between thumbs up and thumbs down. Oh. Okay? It just has an engagement. So if people thumbs down a video, they're still being engaged with the video. So it still gives it notoriety. If you
disliked it, thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Yeah. Also, fuck you and watch everything we made.
Thumbs down everything. You don't even have to watch it. There's just thumbs down.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we should wrap this one up.
Right.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you hopefully, next week. We should be here every week, but we're not always.
Goodbye.
See you.